Okay, if you got any questions or comments, put them in the comments section down below. We'll start in just 1 minute. All right. It's 10 p.m. Let's do it. Welcome back. Got kind of a different show this week. Most of the shows that we usually talk about were off for this week. Arrow is off. Flash, I think, is off until next week. I think they're both back next week, so that'll be good. Also, Gotham did not have a new episode this week, most likely because the episode last week embarrassed them so much that they just couldn't show their faces. I can sympathize. So we've got Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and also Powers, the Powers pilot. I didn't think I'd be reviewing this. Turns out that I will be. Well, this episode at least. I don't have PlayStation or PlayStation Network, so I didn't think I'd be able to watch it, but PlayStation was nice enough to upload the pilot onto YouTube for free, so I was able to watch it, and we'll talk about that in just a second. Also, the new Daredevil trailer came out a few days ago, and it's really cool, and we're going to talk about that as well. And yeah, that's it. You know the drill by now. If the stream craps out, don't leave. I'll try to get it back up as soon as I can. And my laptop has been a little glitchy, so it might crap out. And no dinner this week. I wasn't hungry. I'm feeling a little weird. Just didn't have much of an appetite. But I got some chips here and some vitamin water, fruit punch flavored. So that's what I'm eating tonight. And yeah, that's it. So let's get started. Pulling up my notes. Excuse me. Yeah, so thanks to PlayStation putting the Powers pilot on YouTube. I was able to watch that the other day. It was very nice of them. So I figured, you know, what the hell? I only got one show to talk about this week. Might as well talk about Powers too. Why not? So Powers Episode 1, I don't know what the title was. Anywho, police detective Christian Walker, who used to be a superhero until he lost his powers, gets a new partner after his old one got himself killed by being an idiot. They investigate a superhero who died during sex with an underage girl who they take into custody until she's teleported away by a criminal with powers. They use the time they spend looking for her to unload a whole bunch of info dumps, and then Walker finds her, and the two of them jump off a building only to be saved by another superhero. There's a lot of interest in this show coming in. You know, I'm a fan of the Powers comic. I have the first 12 trade paperbacks, so I've read a lot of it. Bendis has been talking about this for a long time. Brian Michael Bendis, the writer of the comic series, and it's been tossed around from network to network. I think it was going to be on FX for a while, and then I don't know where it was. So eventually it lands on PlayStation Network. So after spending years in developmental limbo, like 15 years apparently, the Powers series is finally here. I can't help but feel kind of underwhelmed by it. First, the good stuff. The cast seems pretty decent. I think Sharlto Copley might be miscast as Walker, but I didn't hate anybody. Yeah, they've got some accomplished actors in there. Michelle Forbes, Eddie Izzard, and generally I didn't have a problem with the acting. Most of the characters seem like they're being represented well, although Dina Pilgrim is not Dina Pilgrim, and I'm not talking about her skin tone. The character is just so different from Dina from the comics. I mean, she might as well be a whole different character. I mean, where was all the sass? Where was the violent temper? You know, that none of that was there. I don't know why they changed her so much. Everyone else seems more or less accurate, though. You know, barring the occasional, you know, alteration for, you know, a different medium, which is understandable. I like that they're adapting elements from the comic series. You know, Johnny Royale, Olympia fucking himself to death, Callista's mysterious connection with Retro Girl. And for PlayStation Network's first foray into original programming, as far as I know, this could have been a hell of a lot worse. You know, they're not embarrassing themselves with this. But there are a bunch of issues. The pacing of this episode was weird. The first 4 minutes or so just blast through tons and tons of information right off the bat, and then it slows down a lot for the rest of the episode. That really stood out to me. It's like we're going really fast and then we're going really slow, and it's just pick a speed, guys. And I really don't think that opening scene was a fitting introduction to this world. That wasn't effective to me at all. You know, we get a bunch of like Aaron Spelling-esque establishing shots, and then we go straight into the precinct where Walker's bringing in some super-powered guy, and he's like, hey, everybody, you know, we just caught that super criminal with powers who's apparently so infamous and everybody seems to know about, but the viewers don't. Oh, and by the way, superpowers exist. You know? It just felt so rushed and shoddy, like they slapped it together with no real attention paid to it. You know, I mean, there were so many more interesting and dynamic ways to get this information across. I mean, build up to it. Establish some dramatic tension first. I mean, in something. Like, maybe have, like, the first couple of minutes be, you know, Walker being called away on a case, and you don't know what... I mean, you think this is maybe just like some kind of normal police procedural, and you can kind of see like different things, weird things happening in the background to show that maybe it's not. And then suddenly you get to the crime scene and it's like, holy shit, a superhero is dead. Hey, that's how we find out superheroes exist. But, you know, they just bring in some superpowered guy. Hey, this guy's got powers. We just arrested him. I don't know. Just felt like a pretty mundane way to introduce that concept. It just felt like there was a more dynamic way they could have done that. But they didn't really believe in doing this, apparently. With this, or with Walker's identity as a former superhero. In the comic, Walker's backstory as Diamond is something that gets unveiled slowly over a number of issues. And here we get it in one big info dump that, frankly, makes it seem a lot less interesting. And that was another problem. Too many info dumps. It seems like there was an awful lot of telling and not a lot of showing here. You know, Walker telling Callista the story of how he got his powers. Walker telling Dina the story of how he lost his powers. Walker telling Dina the story of how he used to be buddies with all these superheroes and also Johnny Royale, you know. First of all, this is a hell of a lot of information to drop on us all at once. You know, some flashbacks or something would have been really helpful here so we could actually see all this stuff instead of just hearing about it. But maybe that wasn't in the budget. And that was another issue. They were obviously working with a really tight budget here, and unfortunately, it showed. The sets, they look like sets. You know, they don't look real at all. They look very, very cheap. You know, a lot of the scenes look like they were shot for efficiency, trying to limit expenses wherever possible. Not taking as much care with the cinematography and stuff to make things look as impressive as you'd want them to. My guess is they pumped most of the money into the VFX budget, and that stuff did look passable, but unless they get more money to work with, a lot of these things are going to be hard to overlook in the long run. Plus, the case seemed kind of schizophrenic. You know, first they're investigating Olympia, and then they're talking to Callista, and they're looking for Callista, and then they're looking for Callista after she's teleported out of the precinct. And then there's this drug that enhances people's powers, and, you know, that they have to watch out for that. And then they're talking to Eddie Izzard, and then there's the story. The story suddenly becomes more about Walker's origin, and it's like they were trying to introduce too many story elements too fast, and they couldn't decide which one to focus on. If they'd taken the comics approach to explaining Walker's origin a little bit at a time over a longer period, that probably would have worked a lot better, instead of, you know, trying to tell us so much all at once. So, first impressions on Powers the series. It's problematic. Could be better, could be worse. But they don't rape the source material or anything. If you like the comics, I don't think you'll be pissed off. You might be underwhelmed, though. The tight budget is very noticeable in the sets and costumes and stuff. And the storytelling is not as thought out as I'd like it to be. Whether or not I'd keep watching, I think would be a toss-up. But since I don't have a PlayStation or PlayStation Network, I don't have to make that choice anyway. So that's my thoughts on Powers. If you guys want to sound off on Powers, do it now in the comments section. Duke Nukem, we will talk about Daredevil next, okay? And Shield. That gaming asshole. I never saw the Powers pilot, didn't even know it was on. I know Walker is basically Vandal Savage, but not evil. Something along those lines. Yeah, no, it's on YouTube. Just look for it. It's on the PlayStation channel. You can watch it for free. And that gaming asshole. Surprise, superheroes exist, LOL. Yeah. And that's it for Powers. Okay. Okay. Yeah. All right, let's move on to Daredevil. We got a new trailer for the Daredevil Netflix series, and I thought I would do something a little different here, since we're not exactly pressed for time or anything. I'm going to do one of these reaction style things where I watch the trailer and then give my thoughts on it as I watch it. Because, you know, those first impression of the trailer videos are so popular right now. So we're gonna do that. So I've got it all. I've got it loaded up here. So let's check out Daredevil. Marvel's first Netflix show. Let's see what we got.
When I was a kid, I used to dream what it would be like to live somewhere far away from Hell's Kitchen.
It's Kingpin.
But I realized the city was a part of me. It was in my blood. And I would do anything to make it a better place.
Okay, that seems awfully similar to what we were hearing from Daredevil in the earlier trailer. It seems like they're kind of juxtaposing Daredevil and Kingpin here, trying to make them different but also kind of similar, like two sides of the same coin. That's interesting. Oh, fuck. Hold on. Oh, that's awesome. Okay, Kingpin just headbutted some guy through like through a car windshield. That's pretty fucked up. I love the way Vincent D'Onofrio looks. You know, he's got the body type, he's got the look. He looks like the Kingpin. He's not like super huge like the guys in the comics, but it looks he looks right. He looks like fucking brutal and stuff. I like this a lot.
Good and evil. Sometimes the difference between the two is a sharp line.
Yeah, I really love the cinematography here. Everything is really dark and really kind of film noir-ish. This is really nice.
Sometimes it's a blur. Sometimes you have to do things right.
Here we got Nelson and Murdoch, looking like they have no money to work with whatsoever.
Side of the law.
By the way, if you had told me that Tristan from Stardust was going to be playing a badass Daredevil years later, I would not have believed you. I mean, I love Stardust, the movie, but wow, that is casting I did not see coming. But he really looks the part now.
We're gonna make a difference. Between the two is a sharp line. Sometimes it's a blur. Sometimes you have to do things outside of the law. We're gonna make a difference. I know it doesn't feel like it sometimes, but we are.
You're blind, but you see so much. I hear things.
You know what they call stuff like that? Gifts.
We got Stick training the young Matt Murdock. Kid looks like he's pretty agile already. With the two billy clubs, looks really nice.
Train you. Use it. There are other ways to see.
I don't
We got Karen Page looking homeless.
see the city anymore.
Bunch of thugs with machine guns. This looks really dark.
I don't see the city anymore. There's only dark corners.
No kidding.
I'll keep you safe, Karen. I have to be the man the city needs.
What are you gonna do?
Whatever it takes.
We fight every night for something. When the sun sets, good both the same.
You and I have a lot in common. We're nothing alike.
We can't go back to nothing.
Oh. That looks. Where is it? There we go. Oh, he's getting patched up by the night nurse. Oh, he looks like beating all the shit. Covered in like lacerations, and like, he's getting all stitched up and everything. This looks really brutal.
Another man's evil does not make you good. I respect your conviction. The lone man thinks he can make a difference.
This darkness is the
You see the church. I really like that religious motif for Daredevil. I'm glad they're keeping that.
I'm just trying to make my city a better place. Maybe if he had an iron suit or a magic hammer, that would explain why you keep getting your asses handed to you.
Nice. I think this show being on Netflix is a really cool idea because this gives them the opportunity to do things they'd never be able to do on ABC. They can go darker. They can get really visceral and really violent, and it looks like that's what this show is going to be. I like that a lot. I think this looks really nice. Yeah, I'm not even like a huge fan of the Daredevil comics, but I'm really excited by this. So this is going to be a very very fun series, I think. I love how dark and brutal it looks. You know, they could potentially expand on this idea and maybe do like a Marvel Knights thing for all the Netflix shows. You know, beyond just Daredevil, and Jessica Jones and Luke Cage and Iron Fist. They could do like all their street level heroes and put them on Netflix and do all sorts of cool stuff like this. You know, I think like the Punisher, for example. I think the Punisher would be like a perfect fit for a Netflix show. I don't know if they have the Punisher rights back. Do they? I don't know. But yeah, thumbs way up for the Daredevil trailer. I think this looks awesome. Just Daredevil, and mute that. Okay, Daredevil comments. Duke Nukem 3DO. Well, if you got any comments about Daredevil, dude, leave them now. There don't seem to be any comments for the Daredevil trailer. Okay. Well, we'll wait. We got plenty of time here. All right. Well, I was still waiting for some Daredevil comments, but that's okay. We can move on for now. We'll come back to it later. Because we got Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. still to talk about. But before I get into the episode, there is something I want to... excuse me. There is something... Sorry. I think I've been getting a bug or something. I don't know. Anyway. There is something I wanted to bring up first about S.H.I.E.L.D. This is something that didn't occur to me last week in regards to Skye's mother. There are some details about her backstory that aren't completely adding up here. The story we heard in Season 1 was that Skye's parents were monsters who tore a village apart to find their missing daughter. But that doesn't really mesh with what we've now learned about Skye's mom, her power, her backstory, what have you. If the story about the two monsters really happened, then Skye's mom could not have been one of them. One, because that's not what her power was, and two, because she would have been dead by that point, wouldn't she? I mean, her power was that she aged very slowly. Maybe she had another power to turn into a monster that we just haven't seen yet. But if she was killed by Whitehall, at what point was she killed by Whitehall, and at what point did Cal turn into some quote unquote monster and tear a village apart? Where did? Because she would have had to have been killed after that, but the timeline is a little screwy here. Not all the pieces are fitting, so either there's more to this story that the show hasn't revealed yet, which is entirely possible, or there's been some retconning going on. I just wanted to make a note of that. Anyway, on to the episode. S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 2, Episode 12, Who You Really Are. Skye and Fitz are struggling to keep her powers a secret from the others until they can figure out the best way to handle them and break the news to the others in a gentle way that won't freak everybody out. Meanwhile, their old friend Lady Sif walks out of the ocean in Portugal with amnesia. Turns out this is thanks to a Kree alien who's come to Earth because he knows a new Inhuman has popped up. Skye's secret comes out, and the shit hits the fan. This episode was all about identity. There was a big identity motif running through everything with Sif, Skye, Fitz, Mac, Hunter, and Bobby a little bit, and even the Kree at the end, too. Excuse me. People wondering, who am I? What am I doing here? And really grappling with all that stuff. I think it worked better with the S.H.I.E.L.D. people than it did with Sif. Now, Lady Sif is one of my favorite characters from the cinematic universe, and I was thrilled that she was back. And Jamie Alexander, Jesus Christ, that woman could read the phone book and make it sound hot. So she's a very welcome guest star. But I don't know if they made the best use of her. The whole amnesia subplot, it's not bad. It's good for some comedic moments that work nicely, and I did laugh at these, but I don't think it was entirely necessary. It felt like something that was cooked up so they could move some pieces around the board and draw out the reveal of Sky's secret until the third act. You know, the amnesia was kind of selectively enforced also. Like, Sif remembers things about her childhood, alien languages she learned in school, but she doesn't remember her name or why she's on Earth or who Thor is. You know, there wasn't much rhyme or reason to that. It kind of felt like a plot device, basically. Not a terrible one or anything, but I don't think they really needed it. You know, given a choice, I think I would have preferred they just not do it. You know, speed things up a little bit and get to the stuff with everyone learning about Sky a little bit sooner. I think that would have been better instead of padding the episode out until the last 20 minutes. And not surprisingly, the last 20 minutes are where all the best stuff in the episode is. You know, not that the first two acts are bad, not at all. You know, there was some pretty cool stuff here. I love the vibration effect with Sky's gun shaking apart when she can't control her powers. They do get some fun comedic moments out of the amnesia, like, answer the question, elderly man. You know, I did get a good chuckle out of that stuff. And the reveal of the Kree was really, really cool. I was expecting him to be some rogue Asgardian or something, but suddenly he goes all blue-faced for a second, and I'm like, oh shit, that's a new wrinkle. So that was a really nice surprise. And not for nothing here, but with this guy, this Kree, they potentially just established a basis for the upcoming Captain Marvel movie, even though that's still, a couple of years away. And Carol Danvers gets her powers from the Kree, and now we've got some context for how the Kree could potentially show up on Earth unbeknownst to the humans later on. And that's very interesting. Maybe they could take some elements from the Ultimate origin of the Captain Marvel. In the Ultimate comics, he showed up posing as a human, as like a military officer or scientist or something, and they could draw from that. They just explained to us here how that could happen, and I think that's really cool. So even though there was a fair amount of padding here, they still got some good stuff out of it. But the best stuff happens at the base. Once the amnesia stuff is off the table and Sky's secret comes out, suddenly everything kicks into second gear. And damn, I wish this whole episode had been like that. Because those last 20 minutes were a lot of fun. The big fight sequence dealing with the Kree was great and pretty funny, actually. Because Mac is this big hulking giant of a man, and the Kree takes him out like he's nothing. Hunter is the supposed badass mercenary. The Kree takes him out like he's nothing. Bobby is the only one who can sort of hold her own against him, but she's just distracting him, so Fitz, the 90-pound lab geek, can blow him away with Coulson's BFG laser cannon from the Avengers. That gun is so fucking cool. And I love that Coulson gave it a name. Bambino. Bambino. That's awesome. So that whole sequence was great. Also, we've got some good character stuff with Coulson and May at first being, kind of sort of okay with viewing Inhumans as a threat, but then immediately switching gears and getting all protective when they learn that Sky is one of them now. I liked May's first instinct being to get Sky far away from the two alien warriors and trying to calm her down. May's got the right idea. I do think she could have taken Sky to a more appropriate place. I get that they want to hide her, but yes, May literally just found out about this like 30 seconds ago, and she doesn't know what Sky's powers are exactly, but if she's making earthquakes, maybe taking her to the basement underground is not the best place that Sky could be. Maybe the honeycomb room on the bus would be a better idea, May. Just a thought. Sky figures it out in the end. So essentially, we've got kind of a padded out Act 1 and Act 2, and then a really fun and exciting Act 3, which kind of drives home the point that the amnesia stuff was not really necessary. And the way they resolve it so easily with the Kree just grabbing the truncheon and poking her with it again just kind of confirms that. Because it was just resolved so quickly, it's like, well, why even do it, Like this was something they used just to bide a little time until we could get everybody in one room But now that they don't need it anymore, it can just go away. You know, there were probably ways they could have gotten to that place without doing an amnesia subplot that would have worked better, but it's not like it killed the episode or anything. Unfortunately, it was the cause of them not making the best use of Sif. She's mostly a cipher here, you know, someone to confirm what the Kree is telling them, you know, down in... Excuse me. You know, someone to confirm what the Kree is telling them about the Inhumans, and then she's not even the one who takes him down in the end. You know, Bobby and Fitz take him down, while Sif is going after Skye. Although they did give us a really badass moment when Skye shoots herself with the icer just to stop the earthquake. And then afterward, Sif, you know, they just convince Sif that Skye is okay somehow. I'm not sure how. But yeah, mainly Sif and the Kree are there to be exposition fairies and impart some general information about the Inhumans, where they come from, how they're created, and why. And for fans who aren't familiar with the Inhumans from the comics, it's good to learn that stuff. I just wish it didn't come at the expense of giving Lady Sif something a little meatier to do. On the relationship front, we got some really interesting stuff happening. Hunter and Bobby are getting really close now. They're actually getting along, which for them is a pretty big deal. And it's happening at a bad time because whatever Mac and Bobby are up to is about to knock over a whole bunch of tables. I like this for Bobby. It's an interesting dilemma for her to have. So, you know, Bobby tries to push Hunter away for his own good, and she sees it. And I like this part because we see that Hunter's no dummy. He sees right through it. He knows they're up to something. He knows that support group excuse from last week was BS. So he confronts Mac about it, and then Mac just takes him out with a sleeper hold, which was a great twist. I love they kind of set that up in advance. Like Coulson telling Mac that he wants Mac to go out in the field, and Mac's like, I don't know, man. Violence isn't really my thing. Sure it's not, Mac. Violence isn't your thing. Who are you fooling? Yeah, great twist with that. I don't know what Mac's plan is now, though. It doesn't seem like he really thought that through, because now he's got an unconscious Hunter that he has to deal with. I mean, what's he going to do about that? What's his plan for when Hunter wakes up? So I suspect we're going to learn what Mac and Bobby's secret is next week. And I am so curious about this. We know they're not Hydra now. You know, that's been confirmed. But they have backup. So they're working with or for somebody. Presumably some kind of separate S.H.I.E.L.D. faction. Maybe one that's not totally on board with Coulson being the director. I so want this to be Abigail Brand. But I don't think I'm going to get my wish on that. The way they talk about it, it seems like it's someone we've met before. Otherwise, why all the secrecy, you know? If so, best guess would be Maria Hill. If not, if it's someone new, then I'm thinking Edward James Olmos's character. Because, you know, spoiler alert, he's going to be a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent. I think either one would make sense. Also, we get a little bit of the Fitzsimmons confrontation that's been brewing all season. And this was another great scene. Simmons is upset that Fitz lied to her about Skye, but because of his recent experiences dealing with the brain damage, Fitz had reason to believe that no one was going to handle it well if it came out too soon. A lot of reason. You know, before they had a chance to cool their jets and get a little more information about what they were dealing with. And this makes perfect sense for his character. You know, he saw how the rest of the team reacted to him after he changed post-coma. You know, they didn't handle it well. You know, he was kind of isolated from everyone. It seemed like mostly they were just trying to avoid him. You know, Mac was the only one who didn't treat him like he was broken or someone to be pitied. And now Skye has just gone through another big change, and here's Simmons talking about how powered folks like Reyna are like a plague that needs to be wiped out, which is not helping the situation. Which is not what Skye needed to hear if the goal in all this was to get her to calm down so she wouldn't, you know, topple over a building. So you understand perfectly why Fitz would do what he did. And I really love that he finally called Simmons on that. Like, oh, Skye's different because she's your friend? Bullshit. I was your friend and I changed. How did you react to that? Not well. You know, it's the first real indication that we've gotten that Fitz has been harboring some resentment about that, you know, towards Simmons. He's finally ready to go on record with it. And Simmons may have had reasons for reacting to him the way that she did, but she hasn't explained that to him yet. You know, it seems like this is a confrontation that she's been actively avoiding. And it doesn't seem like she's going to be able to avoid it much longer. This seems to be coming up, you know, relatively soon. Yeah, they took a step closer to finally addressing that here, and God damn, that's been a long time coming. So I can't wait to see them have that conversation. And again, Ian DeCastiger just fucking nails this scene. I don't know how he's been doing this, but almost every episode this season, he's the most memorable thing. I mean, hats off to the guy. The writers have really given him the ball in season 2, and he ran with it, and he hasn't stopped running ever since. So, to wrap this up, the main purpose of this story was to fill in a few blanks about the Inhumans, reveal Skye's secret to the team, and hit on a few character beats that'll pay off later. The character stuff worked very well, in my opinion. I'm happy that Skye's powers were revealed this week, and they didn't try to drag that out. You know, waiting 1 week was fine. Any longer would have felt like they were slowing the story's momentum too much. I like the info we get on the Inhumans. It's, you know, for fans of the comics, it's not, you know, anything new. You know, this is all stuff we know about already, but we got to remember, you know, these characters are learning about this for the first time. This is all new to them. So it has to be explained to them and to people who weren't familiar with the comics. So it's good information to have. I don't know if all of it was incredibly pertinent right now, but, you know, now we know that these people were created to be weapons by Kree with some pretty bad intentions, alluding to the Kree-Skrull War, which is a fun geek-out moment, and also probably confirming some of Skye's worst fears about herself. And now we know there are separate Kree factions, which could also be important in, you know, in the upcoming Captain Marvel movie. But where the episode falters a bit is that you got Lady Sif as a guest star, and unfortunately, the story is not really about her. And for me, being such a fan of this character and this actress, that was a little deflating. This was arguably the most filler-ish episode of the season. And considering the increased serialization of the writing in Season 2, that's not bad. You know, we still get a number of things that tie into the narrative. I do think it might have been better if they'd rejiggered some story elements to get, you know, to the meat of the story a little bit faster. You know, like I said, the amnesia subplot probably could have been done away with. But we did still get a lot of good stuff here, and I do think this was far superior to most of the standalone episodes in Season 1. So it might not be my favorite episode of Season 2, but it's still a very enjoyable episode regardless. And if you want to sound off about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., do it now. Come on, Google+. There we go. Squirrely Boy. I love how Fitz is starting to become more assertive in calling people out on their BS. The way he called out Simmons especially. Yeah, that's... He's gone through quite a journey from the start of the season to where he is now. I mean, in the season premiere, he could barely speak to anyone. You know, he has such a problem talking, and he still has a problem talking, but he's gotten much better. He's gotten a lot more confidence. They progressed that character a lot. I think the development of him especially has been really, really good this season. And I loved him calling out Simmons. I would have preferred he do it in private so they could have actually finished that conversation. But just when they were getting to the good stuff, they get interrupted. God damn it. I love that he says to her, "Look, I changed. You didn't react well to that at all. You took off so you wouldn't have to deal with it." and suddenly she just has nothing to say. So, yeah, they tried to address. He tried to ask her about this once before, and she just kind of excused herself and left the room so she wouldn't have to talk about it. I don't think she's going to be able to do that next time. So, really looking forward to getting that all out in the open. That gaming asshole. Boy, do I have some things to say about Fitz. Shield is really good this week, dude. Okay. Nice. Aubrey James, what are your thoughts on Fitz and Skye becoming a couple? They have so much chemistry. I don't root against them becoming a couple. It's not something I actively ship, although, yeah, there were a few moments in the tracks from season 1, you know, the episode where they're on the train. There were a few moments when I kind of liked the idea of them together, and the last 2 episodes I did, you know, feel similarly. I still want, you know, Fitz and Simmons to, you know, to hook up there, but I don't root against Fitz and Skye doing something, because it does seem like they have there's a growing connection between them now, just because of their shared experiences, and it seems like he can empathize with her where a lot of other people can't. So they kind of understand each other in a new way right now, which I think is, which I'd like to see them explore a little bit more. Daredevil. Okay, I'll get that afterward. Jacob Walton. Okay, here is my theory for S.H.I.E.L.D. I believe Mac and Bobby are working with Secret Warriors. Yeah, you might be right about that. I wouldn't mind your Abigail Brand theory neither, but I'm leaning towards Secret Warriors. Their group will be on the Iron Man side of Civil War, and S.H.I.E.L.D. will be on the Captain America side. I would venture a guess that there will be certain S.H.I.E.L.D. people who will be on Captain America's side and certain people who will be on the other side. That did seem to be what they were teasing with Fitz and Simmons, how they could be on opposing sides of that argument. So if there's a season 3, we'll see both sides clash over another in different cases. I think Hunter will stay with S.H.I.E.L.D., but Simmons may join Bobby and Mac. As much as I know you're a Fitzsimmons fan, I think it will be... I think it'd be more tragic. I think you mean tragic to see them on separate sides, and it leaves you with what could have been if it weren't for the events of Civil War. I think that might be a little too tragic. I know this is stuff that the Whedons love to do, is they don't like happy. I know Joss sure as hell doesn't like happy couples. We don't know how Jed Whedon feels about that yet. Plus, I mean, this is ABC. I mean, there's probably a limit to how dark they can go, how depressing they can be. But, you know, we saw how Buffy and Angel worked out. I kind of liked that, actually. I thought that they were better as a tragic, doomed romance. But you know, to me, Buffy and Spike were always way more interesting. But whatever. I think, for me, there's got to be some kind of relationship that you root for on a show. And you got to have some kind of hope that they're going to make things work. And, you know, for me, Fitzsimmons have always been like the heart of the show, and there's no better characters to do that with, in my opinion. So I wouldn't want them to be just torn apart by the events of Civil War. You know, there can be conflict, sure, but ultimately I'd want them to be together, because I've said this before, but without those two characters and without that relationship, for me, this show does not work. So I see where you're coming from, but I personally, I would not want that to happen. Also, maybe Ward would later join Secret Warriors as a hired hitman to hunt down the alien threats in exchange for his crimes in the past. Yeah, possibly, if he gets captured again. It seems like Ward really doesn't want to be controlled by anyone anymore, though. It seems like he really wants to do his own thing, and I think that's good for the character. I think he's most interesting that way. I think Hydra may be finished after season 2, since all we have is Von Strucker left now. But you never know there. I don't know. I mean, there's still plenty of people in Hydra. Cut off one head, 2 more will take its place. Last week they took out 3 of the heads. So, and they probably got enough people where they could appoint new heads. And Strucker's probably very capable of running things in the meantime. That said, I wouldn't want them to drag out the Hydra storyline forever, because there's so much other stuff they could do. There's the Inhumans, there's any number of characters they could draw from. They could use, like, the Frightful Four, or, like, the Serpent Society. I mean, there's tons of stuff. And I wouldn't want them to focus on Hydra forever. A new twist you could do with the brainwash theory may be Skye could get brainwashed by Cal, since Skye in an emotional state, and it ends up being the team that saves her. That's all I've got thus far. Potentially. I don't think so. I think, Cal, for all his, for as crazy as that guy is, he does seem to genuinely love Skye and want her to genuinely love him in return. I don't think he would brainwash her into doing that. And how would he even do that? That was Whitehall's technology. They've done nothing to give us any inclination that Cal had access to it. I don't think Whitehall would have trusted him that far, but it seems unlikely to me. TKO Rising, are you going to be... No, sorry, Daredevil. That gaming asshole. Fitz seems to be trying to mac on Quake. I don't know. I didn't notice it at first, but then I started noticing now he's clearly trying to get into her pants. Or a kimono, as the case may be. Haha, get it? Yeah, because she's Asian. I don't think so. I really don't think so. I think he's just trying to be a friend to her. I think it's pretty well accepted by now that Fitz did have kind of a thing for Skye in the first couple episodes of season 1, but that seemed to, vanish when, after the Chitauri virus episode, and he realized that, oh crap, I'm in love with my best friend. The thing for Skye wasn't really brought up after that. I kind of think he's gotten over that. He might still be attracted to her. I don't think there's any romantic feelings there. I don't think he's I don't think he's thinking about jumping into bed with her or anything. I'm sorry. To be fair, I'd react the same way around Min-May that he does around Quake. Anyway, I stand by my statement last week that Fitz is letting emotion drive his actions here far too much, and so are the rest of the team. Though I think they all are, definitely. Although I don't think that Fitz was in the wrong here. Given how volatile the situation was last week, and how a volatile situation was only going to make Skye a very dangerous person to be within 100 yards of, I think he was right in doing what he did. Whether or not that was on the books or not, or whether or not anyone else agrees with it, I think he made the right decision, personally. Quake's powers are dangerous, and the Kree dude specifically told them that Inhumans were created as weapons, meaning at best her powers are dangerous, and at worst they're a weapon of mass destruction. Technically, yes. But remember, I mean, his perspective may have been slightly colored by the fact that these Inhumans were created by a rogue faction of the Kree that the rest of the Kree weren't necessarily on board with. It seemed like we were kind of vilifying that particular Kree faction, so yeah, he might not have been totally unbiased in his assessment. I get kind of that they don't want to give up on Quake, but they're being idiotic trying to save her this long after she's already changed. Okay, but again, this is all completely new to them. These characters don't have no experience with Inhumans. They have very limited experience with superhumans and superheroes and supervillains in general. And this is a world where all that stuff has not been around very long. They don't know that she can't be cured. They don't know that she can't be changed back into a normal human because this is all brand new to them. Fitz especially is letting his blood rush to his lower extremities too much, methinks. He's flipping a coin as to her ability to not nuke the country, and the world is holding its breath. Okay. Well, agree to disagree. I don't think Fitz is looking to get in this guy's bed anymore. I think he got over that over a year ago, personally. And I still maintain that him letting everybody, giving everybody time to calm down and look at the situation with cooler heads before they drop the bombshell that Skye has earthquake powers now was the right way to go. Because if they found out in the mid-season premiere when Skye was completely broken up about Trip and getting upset over everything and just not in a calm state of mind, no one was going to handle that well, and it was just going to exacerbate everything and make a bad situation worse. So, agree to disagree on that one. The Save Me one. I think Bobby and Mac are sword. They want the toolbox that shows how to build an agency, and Marvel is promoting their future projects. Those S.H.I.E.L.D. Civil War coming out next year and Inhumans coming out in 2019. One of S.W.O.R.D's founding members, Carol Danvers, a.k.a. Ms. Marvel, Captain Marvel, and that's coming our way in 2015. No, I thought it was 2017. I know Captain Marvel got pushed back to make room for Spider-Man, the new Spider-Man. So I think that's 2017. It's not this year, that's for sure. It would be so cool if Bobby and Mac were working for S.W.O.R.D. I think it's kind of a fantasy. I don't think it's going to happen. I'd love it if it did. I don't think it's very likely, though. That gaming asshole. Well, for one, we have no idea what Mom's powers were other than aging slowly. Take note that all the Inhumans are basically immortal. So that may have nothing to do with her powers, per se. I don't think that is the case. I don't know what it's like in the comics. I don't think they're immortal in the comics. I'm pretty sure that's not the case on the show. You know, we saw in that flashback with Skye's mom in the mid-season premiere, when they flashed back to like 1983, one of the Inhumans, one of the others was telling Jia-Ying that they were lucky to have her and in her gift to age very slowly, because that means she could counsel all these Inhumans, all the new Inhumans over many generations through the change. And I don't think that would be so special if all of the Inhumans were basically immortal. No, I don't think that's the case in the TV show. Also, Mr. Hyde is like as strong as Thor in the comics, has super strength of an unspecified scale here too, so he probably did most of the ripping apart. Yeah, but remember, the story that we heard in Season 1 from Raina was that both of Skye's parents were monsters. Both of them were there. Both of them tore the village apart. Yeah, they said it was two of them. So either they changed something in the writer's room, or there's more to the story here that we don't know yet. Because they did specifically say there were two of them. They were both monsters. Cal, I understand. They've definitely been teasing that he's a lot stronger than he looks, at least, and he may have some kind of secondary form that we haven't seen yet. They've alluded to that. Skye's mom, there's been nothing to suggest that she may be able to turn into a monster. So who knows? Now, there may be more of that coming. Let's see. The Save Me one. At first, I thought Fitz just wanted to keep Skye's powers a secret to keep the team together, but now it seems like there is something else going on. Skye wanted to tell Coulson and May, and Fitz talks her out of it. Okay, yeah. You could argue that Skye wanted to tell them out of fear of being caught. And Fitz just thought, no, it's too soon. We don't know enough yet. I kind of agree with Hunter that Fitz didn't know for sure how they would react to the news. That's true, he didn't. But he believed he knew how they would react. I'm not saying that Fitz was entirely right in this assessment, but from his experiences and the way they treated him after he was brain damaged throughout most of the first half of the season, you could understand why he would think this and why you think they would react this way. I'm not saying he was totally right, but you can understand why he would think that. Then when they did Coulson and May went into protect mode, even if that meant taking on Sif, Hunter and Bobby seem to be okay with it now Then when they did, Coulson and May went into protect mode, even if that meant taking on Sif. Yeah. Yeah. Of course, those were the two characters that you kind of expect would turn on a dime and protect Skye if it came to that. Hunter and Bobby seem to be okay with it now. Okay with it for now, anyway. Arguably, although you could... We haven't seen them weigh in on that exactly. I tend to think they'll probably be okay with it. Simmons may think Raina needs to be put down, but Skye is her friend, and Raina is the crazy bitch, so there's a difference there. Yeah, but I would argue that there's not as much difference as we appreciate here, because the same exact thing happened to both of them. So if Raina is a plague carrier, that means Skye is too. You know, the difference is not in what happened to them. The difference is who they are as people. But you can't make a distinction there as far as powers go. I mean, yeah, their powers are different, but the same thing, the same pterogenesis happened to both of them. So if Raina's a plague carrier, what does that make Skye? You can't differentiate there. I mean, that's a double standard. Either they're both the same. I mean, they're both the same here, essentially. Mac took it the way you would expect him to. So yeah, I think Fitz was just over-sympathizing because of what he's gone through and kind of made this worse by keeping the secret when he really didn't need to. Disagree. I think he was right to keep it when he did. You saw how Simmons was reacting. She was still really worked up about Trip. She wasn't thinking entirely rationally. Mac wasn't either. And these are the two people that Fitz is closest to. I think for him it made sense to keep the secret when he did. Maybe he thought about maybe he wanted to keep it for too long. I don't know, but I think if the secret had gotten out when Skye was in quarantine and everyone's emotions were really heightened and they were all upset and all worked up and really just really likely to have knee-jerk reactions to everything, it would have been very bad if it had gotten out at that time. And Sif said, look, you're dangerous. You could potentially level entire buildings. Suppose the secret had gotten out. Skye was really fucking upset. When she gets upset, she causes earthquakes that she can't control. If the secret had gotten out then, she could have leveled the whole base. Think about that. She wouldn't have wanted to. She wouldn't have intended to, but it could have fucking happened. it was just better to let everybody calm down for a little while. And maybe Fitz could have explained that better. But I understood his reasons, and I agree with them. That gaming asshole. Did Mac, kill Hunter or what? It looked like he killed him. No, it was a sleeper hold. Hunter's unconscious, that's all. I'm Marshall Jr. 04. I might be pronouncing that wrong. Love your channel. Keep up the good work. Thank you, dude. Do my best. Squirrely Boy. Oh, Hunter and Bobby are getting along all right. Bow chicka bow wow. Yeah. That was a fun cutscene they did earlier in the episode where they go to Sky and May sparring, and then they cut, and then Hunter just rolls off of Bobby in the sack. That was a funny cut. Bunch of questions. Hold on. That gaming asshole. I can only imagine that Mac and Mockingbird are working for Leviathan. Really? Nothing else makes sense, especially since Hydra got fucking exposed last week, and let's be honest, SWORD doesn't exist here. I wish it did, but no. I think there are a number of other possibilities. I mean, there's... And we don't even know if Leviathan exists in the present day. I mean, SSR could have ended up dealing with them, back in the 40s. We don't know. Right now, I think it's more likely that it's like a separate faction of S.H.I.E.L.D. I'm thinking Maria Hill right now, or Edward James Olmos, or something. There's a number of possibilities. We just don't know enough yet. That gaming asshole. So am I the only one who doesn't get why Thor is so in love with Jane Foster and not Sif? No, you're not. I don't get it either. I mean, hey, I love Natalie Portman as much as anybody, but I mean, to me, Thor and Sif just have so much more chemistry. Because in the comics, he's been banging Sif for years. I don't get it. Has he? I don't know. I don't read the Thor comics, but damn. He should have hooked up with Sif in the movies, goddammit. Let's see. That gaming asshole. For that matter, why not Jane's assistant, the Kat Dennings chick? She's a fox. Yeah, agreed. She's hot. Not a lot of people seem to like her character in the movies, though. Jane is like, forgive the pun, a plain Jane compared to these other girls. Really? I wouldn't go that far. Natalie Portman's hot, dude. She always has been. Natalie is not that top shelf in particular compared to Alexander and Dennings. I think she's plenty attractive. I would not put her in the same category as Jamie Alexander. Kat Dennings, I think thinks that's an acquired taste. Depends what your tastes are. I think they're all very, very attractive. I think Jamie Alexander is what's on top, though. Let's see. The Squirrely Boy. I don't hate the idea of Fitz and Sky becoming a couple, but I feel their relationship just works better as a brother-sister type deal. Agreed. Like I said, I don't root against them potentially becoming a couple, but I think it just works better as a close friends thing. That gaming asshole. Mac and Mockingbird could be working for the Howling Commandos, who are a PMC in Marvel, or were recently, or Rocks and Oil perhaps, but I figure Leviathan. Inhumans aren't literally immortal, but in the comics they live for way longer since they're perfect human specimens, but you're right, that's not the case in the show. Obviously, I forgot that scene. Okay, working for the Howling Commandos. Well, I know in the comics some of the Howling Commandos stayed alive. At least Dum Dum Dugan was still around, although they revealed that he was an LMD. That would be really cool if some of them were still around, though. I don't know how likely it is. Rocks and oil? How do you figure that? Leviathan would be an interesting tie-in to Agent Carter. I don't think it's incredibly likely, but yeah, who knows? It's possible, I suppose. That giving asshole. If they're not trying to make Fitz and Quake a thing, then they are really fucked up the writing here, because, geez, dude. I don't know, man. I think you might be reading too much into it. I don't see any romantic implications here. I think he's just trying to help his friend, because that's generally what Fitz does. I really don't see any signs that he's into her romantically anymore. I could see a love triangle, though, as in Quake and Fitz and Simmons. Possibly. I wouldn't root against them doing something like that. Yeah, normally I'm kind of down on love triangles in general, but I'd be open to this. Again, I don't really think they're going that route. It's possible because nothing ever really did happen with Fitz's crush on Skye in those early episodes, and Whedon tends to do these things for a reason. So I don't know if he would have put that in there in the first place if they didn't intend to do something with it at some point. But so far I'm just not seeing it. Actually, I'd kind of like to see how that would shake out. LOL, shake out. I didn't even mean that to be a pun. Sometimes puns just slip out. What I think could possibly happen. Okay, I'll give you this much. There was an interview, I forget I forget where it was exactly, but they said basically that there's going to be a period where Fitz is kind of distancing himself from Simmons and getting closer to Skye because of their shared experiences, whatever. If they were to do a love triangle type of thing, I don't think they are personally, but I wonder if it might be a case of them, Fitz and Skye, just becoming close enough as friends for it to maybe appear as if something might happen romantically, and Simmons kind of noticing this. Maybe her imagination kind of doing the work for her. Is something going on between those two? Maybe. I don't really. It's possible, I guess. I'm really not seeing it, but I think they could tease it just enough for Simmons to kind of notice that maybe something could possibly be going on. Again, I think it's unlikely, but yeah. I guess they could tease it a little bit, possibly. Some comments are hidden as they are probably spam. Well, let's take a look at these. Oh, come on. Well, it's not letting me see them. That's unfortunate. Well, if there were any real... I wish Daredevil was like this. UCD3AD. Well, I can't watch this right now. So if that was a real comment, I apologize. Loading. Oh, come on, Google Plus. Help me out here. All right. All right, the Save Me one. Going back to Daredevil here. Daredevil, I think, will work a lot better as a TV show than it did as a movie. Also, if I were Marvel, I think I would look into making Blade and Punisher into shows. Just like Daredevil may have sucked as a movie, but could loan themselves out well to the small screen because they would be more existing heroes for shows like than Power Man and Iron Fist are. Agreed. I think Punisher would be perfect for Netflix. Because they could do all the really gritty, bloody, gory stuff that they wouldn't be able to do on network shows. So I think Punisher would be perfect. Blade, I'm not sure if they have the rights to. I think it was New Line that made the Blade series. They might still have the rights to that, as far as I know. But I think Blade would work as a Netflix show too. Yeah, I know they had that mercifully short-lived TV series for Blade, which I actually watched some of, and it was bad. So yeah, but Blade, yeah, that's another property that could work on Netflix really well. Like I said, I mean, do all the street level heroes. You put them in Netflix shows. I think that'd be a great way to utilize like the Marvel Knights line. I think that's a really good idea. That gaming asshole. Daredevil's costume looks awful. I didn't like it at first either. I'm still not crazy about it. But apparently they're adapting like the Frank Miller story, like the Frank Miller origin story, and this is all taking place before he gets the full costume. And apparently, I heard apparently he is going to have like the proper Daredevil costume by the end of the season, but it's a matter of like working up to that. Because I mean, if you look at the Frank Miller story from the comics, in the black costume that he starts out in, it's like right out of the comics. So I kind of like it if he started out in like the red devil suit, but I understand it's an origin story. They're building up to it. Maybe it's because I like the original movie, but Jesus, he looks like the Daredevil from the old Hulk TV show in the 70s. Yeah, and Duke CT, I get the feeling that will change by the end of the series. Yes, they're going to build up to him getting the proper costume. I believe that is going to happen by the end of the season. I confess, like I didn't hate the original Daredevil movie. I kind of enjoyed it. I thought that movie got a lot of shit. I mean, yeah, it was far from perfect, but it could have been worse. It really. I mean, for all the things they got wrong, they did get some things right that I thought weren't unappreciated. TKO Rising, are you going to be doing reviews on all 13 episodes of Daredevil coming out April 10th? Possibly. I think it's more likely to do a live stream about the entire season. I confess I don't have a Netflix account. I'm kind of a weirdo in that I like having a physical copy of the movie or the DVD or the movie or the TV show that I'm watching. So I like getting the copy at the store and then just having it, like just to have it. Plus, I don't like the idea of like not being able to watch a movie or a show on my computer if the power goes out and I lose my internet access. Because if I lose my internet, I can't use my Netflix account. Can't get on the internet to use it. But I can get a DVD off a shelf, pop it in my laptop, and I can watch that whenever the hell I want. So I don't know, maybe I'm a little old-fashioned, but I prefer having a physical copy. So I might get a Netflix account so I can watch the Marvel shows, but I think it's more likely that I'll just wait until the DVD comes out. But I think I'll definitely do. At the very least, I'll do a live stream when I see the whole season. The Save Me one. I wonder if we'll see Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin in a Spider-Man movie. That would be really cool. I would like that a lot. You know, further synergy between the shows and the brands and stuff. That would be really interesting. Plus, Kingpin is not a villain we've seen in a Spider-Man movie yet, and they've covered most of the classic villains by now. I mean, if they want to do something new with this rebooted Spider-Man, you know, I mean, use a villain that they haven't used yet. You know, Kingpin's on that list. I mean, who else are they going to use? I mean, what other villains haven't they used yet? The Shocker, Scorpion, the Spider Slayers, maybe. But yeah, Kingpin would be on that list, sure. That'd be really cool. The Save Me one. That poor jackass on the beach. That's right, dude. Hit on the giant lady with a large frickin' sword. I'm sure nothing can go wrong here. Yeah, that guy wasn't too bright, was he? Duke CT, do you think Daredevil, if successful, can get a second season? Or is this a one-and-done deal? Oh, I'm sure if it's successful, they'll get a second season. I don't see why they wouldn't. I think after the season one of the 4 initial shows, you know, Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, I think after that, they're going to do a Defenders miniseries for Netflix. But following that, I mean, if the shows are successful, I'm sure they'll all get second seasons. I mean, Marvel Studios works like a well-oiled machine now. I mean, they know what the fuck they're doing. And they know how to present their characters and their properties successfully. And they haven't failed yet, even once. I mean, everything they've done has been a hit. I don't see why, you know, Daredevil will be any different. I think they've got a winning formula right now, and there's every reason to think that Daredevil will be a hit and have a second season. All right. Come on, Google Plus. Okay. Jacob Walton, thoughts on meeting May's ex-husband next week, along with Cal unleashing new supervillains against S.H.I.E.L.D.? I'm looking forward to it. You know, this is something we haven't necessarily done yet. Having a big throwdown with a bunch of powered supervillains. I'm expecting a lot of fight scenes, and plus, this episode is being directed by Kevin Tancheron, who did who directed the episode with the big May versus May fight scene. Yeah, with all the awesome choreography and that amazing stunt where she kind of jumped up and twisted around in midair in slow motion and slammed the other one's head down on the coffee table. This is the guy who did that Mortal Kombat web series. So, you know, he knows how to create some really inventive and innovative action sequences. So I'm really excited to see what they do with that episode, because I expect some really great action in that one. And very interested to meet May's ex-husband. You know, Blair Underwood is a great actor. And, you know, May's backstory is something that they've never really touched on all that much. You know, they've alluded that she had some kind of traumatic experience in Bahrain. They've never really shined a spotlight on it. Yeah, we know she had a husband at one point and that it ended for some reason, and that she doesn't talk to him now. So we can assume that her relationship with her husband ended really badly, Probably whatever happened in Bahrain and her changing so much had to do with that. But I'm really looking forward to learn. Hopefully, this is going to shine a light on May's backstory, and I'm looking forward to that because it's about time we learned her backstory. Because I mean, May is a character that generally doesn't get focused on all that much, which is kind of a shame because Ming Na Wen is a good actor and she deserves to have more of the spotlight. So it seems like we may be getting some of that here, and I'm looking forward to that. That gaming asshole. Yeah, that gaming asshole. I love how Fitz tried to get Quick's attention there when she was sparring with May and got shot the fuck down. The look on his face was so sad. He looked like a dog that got hit with a rolled-up newspaper. Yeah, he could see this guy was kind of worked up and tried to get her to take a break, and May is not having it. Almost seems like there's been kind of this weird friction between Fitz and May for some reason. I'm not sure why. But there's a number of scenes, especially in the first season, where it just seems like there's something about Fitz that really bugs May. I don't know where this comes from, but I really like to see the two of them go on a mission at some point just to get to the bottom of this, because I don't know. It seems like there's something about Fitz that really just rubs May the wrong way. I don't know why, but I'm really interested to see where this comes from. That gaming asshole. Not the original Commandos, the new ones, which includes Sky and Ares' son. Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, I didn't read that series, but yeah, Phobos, wasn't that Ares' son? Yeah. I think I flipped through those comics in the store once. Didn't buy them, though. Yeah, maybe. Who knows? Who knows? That's a possibility. The Save Me one. Jada Pinkett Smith is not returning for the second season of Gotham. That should mean better things are on the horizon. That could only lead to better things at this point. Because what they've been doing with her character is, I mean, good lord. Talk about going off the rails. That said, at this point, the improvements would have to be very drastic and happen very soon, because otherwise I'm done with Gotham after this season, guys. I can't take this anymore. This show has less and less of an idea of what kind of show it's supposed to be. And I really have no desire to watch it. If I wasn't reviewing it for this live stream every week, I would have quit on Gotham quite a while ago. I'll finish the season, but unless there's like a dramatic uptick in quality really fucking soon, then I'm not coming back for season 2. I'm just not. Yeah, whether or not Jada Pinkett Smith is there is not really a factor anymore. Because it's going to take more than her being gone to save this show, in my opinion. That gaming asshole. Save me one. I got no problem with Smith as an actress, but Fish Mooney can eat a dick. Stay classy, TGA. I wouldn't be surprised if she did in the next season. Frankly, I wouldn't be surprised if that island was under a dome on the moon, because why the fuck not? Dude, nothing would surprise me at this point. I mean, that whole fish storyline is so fucking random and just completely removed from anything Gotham related. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what show that's supposed to be taking place in. It doesn't feel like it's taking place in this show. Nothing would surprise me anymore. The Save Me one. Did you see the photo of Melissa Benoist in the Supergirl outfit? What did you think? I did see it. You know what? Let me call up a picture of this just to refresh myself. Oh, for fuck's sake. What, now I can't find it? It's been all over the web. Now suddenly... Here we go. All right, Supergirl. Yeah. Okay. What do I think of the costume? Well, I don't hate the costume. Looks like they're taking the Man of Steel route and making everything like darker, which is probably a good idea. I like that she's covered up, just for the sake of functionality and not pandering to the horny teenager demographic by having her show a lot of skin. I prefer this. It's a little more tasteful. And okay, she's got the the thigh-high boots, but she's also covered up in the upper leg area. We got the skirt. There's no there's no bare midriff or anything. Generally, I think the costume's okay. I think the costume is okay. I don't necessarily see Supergirl when I look at Melissa Benoist. I don't know if she doesn't look like I imagine Supergirl would look. Maybe they were casting against type for some reason. I'm not sure. I like the costume. I don't know about the actress. I confess I haven't really seen her in anything. Didn't see Whiplash, although maybe I should. Wasn't playing anywhere around here though. There's some photos of her in plain clothes on the set in her Clark Kent garb. Those look better. Like she's taking the Clark Kent approach of kind of disguising herself as a nerd. That she can pull off, I guess. I read a report on the internet that said her fake name was going to be Kara Danvers. I really hope that's not true. I heard another one that said it was Linda Danvers, which is better. But Kara Danvers just sounds like they're trying to beat Captain Marvel to the punch. Well, you couldn't pick a name that sounded a little less like Carol Danvers. Really, you don't think that's going to be... That's just going to piss people off? I don't know. Anyway, she looks good in the Clark Kent disguise. I like the costume. Not too sure about the actress yet. I'm open to viewing more. But I don't know. Some of the things I've heard about this project give me pause. And just made me kind of wonder about it. Let's see. That Gaming Asshole. I have a feeling we're headed for a really huge superhero movie crash, though. If not with some of the more obscure Marvel assets than the DC nonsense coming out. DC especially is way too cluttered and way, way, way too bizarre for most people today. It's one thing to make a space opera like Guardians of the Galaxy. It's another entire thing to try to get people to watch a Justice League movie when the best villain DC has right now is not Scott Pilgrim playing Lex Luthor. Yikes. I hate to say it, but I get the feeling one of these movies is going to bomb hard in the next few years, maybe a Marvel one if they're serious about trying to get Black Panther over. Oh, I think, well, hold on. Well, I do think DC characters have no shortage of fans. I would say that the way Warner Brothers is handling the DC properties is pretty questionable. Marvel is a well-oiled machine at this point, but I think DC is bound to fuck up sooner or later. I mean, they already pretty much fucked up with Green Lantern. But yeah, it does seem like they're getting really ahead of themselves and trying to blast this Justice League movie out the gate. and just hurrying way too much with Superman, Batman without really thinking things through and taking the time to really introduce these characters properly. It seems like they're just way too eager to get this stuff out there, and that's probably going to lead to some issues. And sooner or later, one of these movies is just not going to work because they didn't put the time and attention into it that they should. So I would agree with that. All right. Well, we don't know if Lex Luthor is going to be the villain in the Justice League movie. We know he's going to be in the Superman, Batman. That's it. I believe Metallo was also in there too. I don't know if that's confirmed or not, though. I agree. Jesse Eisenberg was pretty bizarre casting for Lex Luthor. I'm willing to give him a chance just because the guy is a good actor. I mean, he's got an Oscar nomination, for Christ's sake. I mean, he's not a bad actor. It depends on what they plan on doing with the Luthor character. The way I understand it, he's going to be like some kind of internet mogul like Mark Zuckerberg. It's a different take on it. Yeah, I don't understand why they didn't cast Bryan Cranston either, but I don't know. I'm trying to keep an open mind about that entire project. Yeah, but for the Justice League movie, I can't see the villain being anyone but Darkseid. I mean, who else would be able to pose enough of a threat for all those heroes to band together? I don't see it. Black Panther. If there maybe a Marvel one, if they're serious about trying to get Black Panther over. Really, not a Black Panther fan, huh? Well, I would argue that Ant-Man was a far bigger risk than Black Panther. I mean, of all the characters to get their own fucking movie, Ant-Man? Really? It just seems like it's... Ant-Man is a character that I don't even understand how that character worked in the comics for as long as it has. It's just such a freaking goofy character and such a silly hero with silly powers. I think Ant-Man is a far bigger risk, personally. And yeah, they did have a troubled production, losing the director and a lot of the actors and having to replace people at the last minute. Also, I think Ant-Man is a contender for potentially Marvel's first failure of a movie. But no, I don't think Black Panther is as big of a risk as you think it is. The way I heard it, there was a hugely positive reaction in the fan community to Marvel finally doing a movie starring a character of color, and I'll applaud them for that. I think that's it's about time that happened. So if anything, I think Black Panther is going to tap into a market that Marvel hasn't really tapped into yet. So I would not be surprised if Black Panther was a big hit. I'm not rooting against it. Now I hope it's a success, and Marvel hasn't given us any reason to think they're going to make a bad movie yet, or at least an unsuccessful movie. So I'm feeling positive about Black Panther, really. That gaming asshole. You got to watch Walking Dead. It's been a blast recently. Carol has gone insane, and Rick is plotting to kill a guy to have sex with his wife. Excuse me. Carol has gone insane, and Rick is plotting to kill a guy to have sex with his wife, and those are subplots to a growing story about a genocidal army called the Wolves and a walled-up city of Republicans. Wow, that show has gone off the rails since I stopped watching. I've said this a number of times. I watched the first 2 seasons of Walking Dead. I just couldn't get into it. I've said this a number of times. The show is just too grim and too bleak for me personally. I think in order to really invest in the characters, you have to have some kind of hope that things are going to turn out all right for them. With The Walking Dead, I just don't. There's no hope for any of the characters. They're fighting to survive, and that's it. They're not fighting to really live or be happy or have hope or anything. They're just fighting to survive until they can't survive anymore. And ultimately, they're not going to survive. Every single one of those characters is doomed. So I don't want to get emotionally invested in any of them, and I can't get emotionally invested in any of them because ultimately I think they're all just going to get killed. They're all just going to get killed off. So why get attached? I tried to get into Walking Dead. I just can't do it. I watched the first 2 seasons. The show is just not for me. Hey, if you like it, more power to you. But it's just not my cup of coffee. Also, a couple episodes ago, they legit confirmed that God was protecting Rick's group. God, really? He couldn't have protected Lori? God, wow. That's something. Lucky STR8. Has there been any news on whom the villain will be for Dawn of Justice? Not that I know of. I suspect it'll be Darkseid, because, I mean, who the hell else would it be? Profess 84. The enemies that they could use in the new Spider-Man franchise should be Carnage, Hammerhead, Kraven the Hunter, Morbius, and Mysterio. Would that be awesome? Carnage, not in the first movie. Because, I mean, unless they really change something from the comics, you can't do Carnage without doing Venom first. And Venom requires a lot of setup. So I think you can't do Carnage without doing Venom, and you really can't do Venom in the first movie. It would be really cool to see Carnage, but I doubt they'd want to go that dark in a Marvel property. Unless it's on Netflix, apparently enough. Hammerhead always struck me as kind of a lame villain. Maybe he could be like a henchman to one of the supervillains. Kraven the Hunter? Yeah, they haven't done Kraven the Hunter yet, but never a big fan of that character. Maybe it's like, I never understood how like a normal guy with no real powers could really pose a threat to Spider-Man. They kind of made fun of that in the Ultimate Spider-Man comics. Like they had all this build up for Kraven, and then they finally have the fight, and Peter just takes him out with one shot. It's like, oh, I thought he had powers or something. Wow, what a faker, They kind of turned him into a joke. Although there are some classic Kraven the Hunter stories, I don't know if I'd want them to do him in the first movie, but maybe eventually, who knows? Morbius, okay, possibly. To me, Spider-Man and vampires don't really mesh well. But he is a character they haven't used yet. Mysterio, that would be cool. There's a classic villain that they haven't used yet. I think Mysterio might work. Yeah, I'd like to see Mysterio. Hopefully they'd update his look so he's not like the guy with the fishbowl on his head. But I think Mysterio could work in a movie. That's a good point. That gaming asshole. Black Panther is awesome, but very comic booky. I would argue that he's far less comic booky than Rocket Raccoon or Groot. I mean, if Marvel were able to take to make a talking raccoon with a machine gun and a talking fucking tree, and make those characters work in a really awesome and very successful movie, they could make Black Panther work, no problem. Yeah, but yeah, Ant-Man is far worse. I literally forgot about that movie entirely. Lucky STR8, have you seen Hulk and the Agents of Smash? No, I haven't. I don't know what Marvel's doing with their animated division, but I don't like the direction they're going in. That whole concept just seemed dumb to me. What, Hulk is on a team of people who are also Hulks? What? You know, I saw enough clips of it to make me think that there was nothing about this show that I wanted to watch, and I don't know. Marvel's cartoons. I don't know what they're doing with that whole medium right now. They had a great Spider-Man cartoon with a spectacular Spider-Man, and they canceled it so they could do the Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon, which is terrible. They had a great Avengers cartoon with Earth's Mightiest Heroes, and they canceled it so they could do this new Avengers Assembled cartoon, which is god-awful. At the rate they're going, I have no desire to watch Agents of Smash. I think it's a stupid idea. And from what I've seen, it's not very good. Yeah, just from what little I've seen about it. I just have no desire to watch it. The Save Me one. If we get Wasp and Ant-Man, I'll be cool with it. Well, there is Wasp. Now, I think what they're doing with Ant-Man, and I don't know why this is, but apparently they're doing like an older version of Hank Pym who's like kind of passing the suit over to Scott Lang. So he's, you know, it's Michael Douglas, so he's an older guy. And apparently in this movie, he has an adult daughter, Evangeline Lilly. He had a daughter with Janet Van Dyne, who may have been the Wasp in the past, I guess. But, you know, she's not around now. Either she's dead or she's just not there. Which is a very strange creative decision to make. I'm not sure if I agree with that or not, but that's what they're doing. So the Wasp won't be in the movie, as far as I know, but her and Hank Pym's daughter is in the movie because they have an adult daughter, which it's weird. I don't know why. I'm not really bothered by it. I have no attachment to the Wasp as a character anyway. But maybe I have a feeling they'll probably be doing some Wasp-type stuff with the daughter character. So maybe she'll be like a stand-in for Janet. Who knows? That would be my guess, though. That gaming asshole. I'm literally shocked that Ant-Man is still going. I completely forgot it existed, but they released a trailer and everything. Wow. Yeah, they were determined to get that movie out. I don't know how good it's going to be, but they made it. Jacob Walton, did you watch the Blockbuster Buster from Channel Awesome Countdown to the Age of Ultron honest reviews? If not, check them out. Yeah, I've seen a bunch of them. Yeah, they're really good. I really liked the Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes one. I haven't seen all of them, but yeah. Generally, I like his honest reviews. I think he does quality videos. And the Countdown to Age of Ultron stuff, they've been really good. I haven't seen all of them, but I've seen a bunch of them. Yeah, that's good stuff. That gaming asshole. I'll only see Ant-Man if they use the Ultimate version and make it a slow, dark deconstruction of superheroes. No lie, that would be awesome. Also, Maggie Q as Wasp. I don't think you're going to get your wish on that one. Looks like they're going for more of a comedic slant, which I think you kind of have to do. I mean, it's such a goofy character concept that you kind of need to have a sense of humor about it. You can't take it too seriously. Although personally, I did enjoy the Ultimate version of those characters, at least while Mark Miller was writing them. And the original run of the Ultimates, what he did with Hank Pym and Janet was I really liked it. Maggie Q as that version of the Wasp, I'd be cool with that. Yeah, why not? Lucky STR8, do you think Marvel could adapt Ultimatum into the movie, but with actual taste as opposed to the comics? Oh, I hope not. Jesus Christ. Ultimatum was a terrible story, you guys. Well, they'd need the rights to all the X-Men characters back, and they don't have those. I guess they could do it without them, but they need to change a ton of stuff. And maybe have the Inhumans stand in for the mutants. It really doesn't work without Magneto, though. Plus, I mean, why? Because then they'd have to kill off like every character in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and they wouldn't want to do that. You know what? No, I really don't think so. Ultimatum was a terrible story to adapt. Just let's leave that alone. I mean, there's so many better stories they can draw from. Why would they want to do Ultimatum? So no, I certainly hope not. To answer your question. The Save Me one. Female superhero movies I want to see with Captain Marvel, Spider-Woman, Black Cat with Spider-Man in a supporting role, She-Hulk with Hulk in a supporting role. Want to see a Black Cat movie with Spider-Man in a supporting role. That seems unlikely. She-Hulk with Hulk in a supporting role. Well, I don't even think I don't even know how likely it is that we'll get another Hulk solo movie, let alone She-Hulk. I think She-Hulk in a supporting role in a Hulk movie might be possible. She-Hulk getting her own movie? Not anytime soon. I doubt it. Captain Marvel's coming. I want to see a Spider-Woman movie too. You know, Jessica Drew's an awesome character. She deserves to have her own movie. I think she could carry one. That gaming asshole. I would pay money to see Kate Upton as Power Girl. Kate Upton, huh? You wouldn't want to... Maybe a better actress for that? Otherwise, my dream casting is Ellen Wong as Jubilee in a Generation X movie. All right, well, we're pretty far removed from Generation X. Probably have to change a bunch of things. I'm going to Google Ellen Wong to see what she looks like. Oh, yeah, she could be Jubilee. She looks the part. Yeah, I could see that. It would be cool to see a Generation X movie, though. You know, I really liked the original Generation X comic series. I collected it. It bummed me out when that got canceled. Of course, they had some creative problems toward the end, but yeah. Yeah, I like that series. I was sad when they canceled it. Yeah, I liked a bunch of those characters too. No, I don't want to do that. Fuck you, Google Plus. And I think that's everything. Let me get go down to the bottom here and just check, make sure. Okay, I think that's everything. Forgive me if I missed anything, but I think I got to every question here. And we're approaching the 2-hour mark, so I think that's a good place to end it tonight. Thanks for tuning in. Not as many shows to talk about as usual, as we usually do, but I believe they're all back next week. So we got Gotham, Arrow, and Flash are all back, and we got Shield with a big supervillain throwdown coming. So that's going to be really exciting. And also whatever trailers or media about new projects might be in the works as well. So I might have other stuff to talk about too. So we'll cover all that in due time. We got, I believe, 4 shows coming back next week. So I'll be here, same time, same place, to review all of them, to talk about them with you, get your thoughts and opinions, and it'll be a good time. So thanks for tuning in, everybody. That'll be it for me tonight. Good night, good luck. I will see you next time. Later.